Business Wizard back again here, and this week's video, last week we kind of went over the demo. This week I really think I want to deep dive into the storyteller side of things without just going into how to handle running the game, because the biggest thing that's kept D&D and a lot of these other well-known tabletop games and some of the more well-known LARPs that are around from breaking into the mainstream and really being everywhere is just the fact that they are not easy to run, and some of them are not fun to run. By that I mean, like, it really hamstrings what the DM, the Dungeon Master, or the Storyteller can do. In this one, as long as you're telling a cool story and your players are on board with it, it's super simple to run. And dressing up and being the character is a huge part of the fun. So, I know I've gone over the numbers a bunch, but again, the more and more you go over them, the easier they are to keep in your head. For anything that you're going to make a skill challenge, needs to be 25 or higher. But the height is only limited by the amount of people playing in your module or in your story or in your skill challenge. And if it's so low that someone with a 10 in the skill should be able to do it, don't make it a skill challenge. Don't make them burn a bunch of stacks. Just give it to them. If it's something that you don't think is possible, don't set a skill challenge. Just go, okay, well, how would you do that? Get the player to describe how they try it, and then give them a reason as to why it fails. Storyteller in this game, I've done a lot of yes-anding, but it doesn't always have to be yes-and. You can do a no but, like, that doesn't quite work, but maybe, and you can sort of hint towards the skill they should be using. We'll do this more as a storyteller intro video. Another big thing as a storyteller for this game is you want to gauge interest from your players. Even people who've never done anything like this before will have some media that they engage with, or some books that they read, or something cool that they are into. And if you know what your players are into, you can put things they will recognize in the story to make it easier for you. For example, the sci-fi demo. The rectangular gate with the device that can boot up things, you know, very much analogous to Stargate, the gate, and the dial home device. Now, at your home games, if you're using this system, I don't care what media you pull from. I'm not there, and neither is anyone else on the team, and no one's going to judge you. Part of the thing that makes homebrew so much fun is you can rip directly from really, really cool stories, and you should, for your home games and homebrew games. If you're not charging any money, no one's coming after you, and if they do, they're not going to get anything, and they're kind of jerks anyway. So as a storyteller, if there's a really cool thing you want to run that already exists, you can drop yourself into existing settings and use this system to tell those stories with your friends. That's the biggest thing about this as a storyteller, is you're there to help things move along and to give players things to do. Part of the thing that some of the players were saying was like, not the players, some of the other founders were jumping in and saying was like, hey, could I try this out? And I'm like, if everyone's there to learn and everyone's there to have fun, and you want to hop in and try your hand at storytelling, go for it. In this system, the players and the storytellers behind the game are always more important than the outcome of the game. and the rules being adjudicated. Now, if someone's just clearly being a jerk, that's why we have rules. But as a storyteller, you're there to tell a cool story using the system. Now, as a storyteller, this is really, really good advice. Keep your story or your module or your adventure simple. Now, if you're starting people off with a demo version of the game, or they're starting off fully stacked, and you think, oh, I've written a really short quest. They're going to go here, they're going to do this, they're going to go here, they're going to do this, they're going to save this person, turn the quest back in over here. 2 hours with how much people can end up role-playing is not really a long time. So if you plan all of that, and this is the hardest thing about one-shots, because I've run a lot of one-shots, so I'm going to give you this storytelling advice. Make it something you can wrap up within an hour and a half. And then if they take the whole 2 hours and they only make it halfway through your one-shot, have a point where you can wrap the story up. Or you can say, this is where you left off in the story, but to close off the one-shot, here's where you would have gone, here's how it would have ended. You don't have to give them the skill challenges. And you're going to want to look at the skills for the demo that you've picked and the game that you're going to run. Make sure your players have those skills and set some skill challenges. I would say for your average 2-hour game, maybe set 6. And they might not pick the ones that you want if they don't pick the right skill for it, but they come up with a really cool idea. That's where you set the skill challenge. And as they burn through your challenges that you've set up for your story, they'll need to regenerate their stacks. So that's why it ends up taking a lot longer than I thought. Also, I did end up designing the game for larger crowds. So the smaller the crowds, the more quickly they'll burn through their stacks and then need the downtime to regenerate things, which gives you time as a DM to go back and read what did I write down. Not because once you're in front of people as the storyteller, you'll start to realize, oh, I thought I knew this. I wrote the quest. I should know this quest. Nope. You'll end up needing to consult your notes, and as long as you've got them working on how to overcome a challenge or working on how to overcome something, you get a little bit of time to read your notes and catch back up with things. And this is going to be hard advice to hear, especially for people that are really like rules-based and structure-based like me. You do not have to be perfect. You don't even have to be that good. Some of the games I ran that I was like, man, I really should have prepared more. Afterwards, one of my friends who was in the game would call me and be like, hey, that was phenomenal. How did you come up with this really cool story beat? And I'd be like, oh, I had that written ages ago. Sometimes, especially early in my DMing, I'd be like, oh yeah, I have that all written out. And sometimes I do have things written out and they go do it. But I'm going to tell you a majority of the time, your players are going to come up with something cooler than what you wrote. And that's the most fun part of a storyteller, is to go, I didn't even think of that. That's genius. I didn't write that down as an option for them to overcome this. I'm going to write that down. And you know what? I'm going to let them have it. Or, that's really, really cool. That's not where I wanted this to go. That won't flow with the rest of the module. Let me give them something cool for trying it. But maybe if they want to use the skill in that way, maybe I save that for later. Use it in another session. You don't have to be a detailed note taker. You don't have to want to do this all the time. But I'm going to tell you, if you've never DM'd, told, or anything like that in a system, using this system, this Community of Legends system, is the way to do it. There's still a lot of editing and writing being done. It's not ready for sale yet. If you're interested, join the email list, CREATELARPSFORALL@gmail.com. Send us what you think so far. Again, I'm going to reiterate here, we're looking to go to Southern Fried Gaming Expo, which is in Atlanta. I don't know if I'll link it in this video. It's at the end of July 2026. And we may be doing more conventions than that. As we get closer to those conventions, the team will probably ask me, hey, can you film like a little, we're gonna be here, and maybe dress up a little bit better, maybe actually put my armor on. My goodness. If y'all want to see me in the armor at some point, leave it in the comments, put a like on here or two. I'll get the full armor on and film a little bit. It's gonna be hard to move around in this office with all that. That's all right. Have yourself a wonderful week. I'll catch you next week.